Yo, what's going on? How's everybody doing? What's going on, Brian? How you doing? Guys, I'm over in a hotel, so if I'm a little bit quiet, it's because I'm in the hallway right now. What's going on, Jake? You guys like these new hats? The camo? Hey, guys, Nabil, how you doing? Jason, what's going on? Mr. Stock Picker. David Kim. Long time no see, bro. Man, good to see you. Mr. Thomas, how are you, sir? Yeah, I'm actually at a hotel. I'm at the Foundation Hotel in Detroit. I'm visiting my parents, and then I had some business meetings down here. So I've been goofing around in my old hood in Detroit. So I used to live down in Detroit when it was the real hood. You know, I used to have this loft down here. Now, like, Detroit's gotten all nice, so it's kind of cool. So I haven't been back in a little bit, so I'm seeing all these new little spots and stuff pop up, and it's kind of interesting. It's good to see. Good to see my city coming back in style. So I've been hanging out here, but this hotel is actually pretty cool. It's like a little boutique hotel. But anyways, let's not fart around too much here. So let me get on my other computer here and do what we got to do. So guys, well, welcome. Actually, we were going to do this on Bitcoin's at 12,000, getting ready to short. And it looks like we're making a run to 14,000, which is just incredible. Let's pull up some charts and just let's get this party going. Let's pull up a little bit of charts and just take a look, because we're getting some just amazing action here. So hold on here. So this is Trading View. So if any of you guys are new, by the way, just you know, let us know or give me a shout out. I'll give a shout out, and I'll make sure to be gentle. And also, like, if you're just new, you know, you ever need to just get some more information, or like you want to, you know, figure out where to start, you can always email me, kanal@bullson.ws, and I'll always answer back, you know, if I have time that day. And even if I don't, I will make time. Look at the actual chart for Bitcoin right now. Hey, thanks, Des. That was really nice of you to say. You're a cool dude. What can you do? So check this out. So we just were at 12,000 about 12 hours ago, give or take. So we've run over 1,000 points today. It's been actually pretty incredible to really think about the fact, you know, remember we were doing YouTube Live when this $5,000 breakout came in, and we haven't really looked back yet. And so one of the things to really think about, you know, is in terms of just Bitcoin itself, do you really want to short it? The answer is no. And the reason is that, you know, it's impossible to catch tops in anything. You know, I've done it in the stock market, so I've been day trading my whole adult life. It's impossible to catch tops in something. You know, you just never know till way after the fact. And so, you know, trying to sit there and think and go counter trend is just ridiculous. One of the things that you just see here with just the power of the trend is that, you know, if you get in front of it, you're going to be, you're really, I mean, you're going to lose. You're going to lose it. So you don't want to get in front of this thing. What I would be doing with Bitcoin right now is I would be buying this thing on dips, right? So like anytime it's been having these kind of dips, these short-term corrections, you've got to come in and buy it, right? And obviously, for those of you guys who've been with us for a long time, the easiest place to buy Bitcoins and trade it is on Coinbase, which hooks to GDAX, which is just a awesome, easy to use platform. But we're on a huge run. So I do think that we're going to pull back here. So guys, one of the things about Bitcoin, why it runs harder than some of the other coins, is just the level of supply and demand. So, you know, the way Bitcoin is set up is, you know, the final total is going to be like 21 million coins. But right now, the actual effective float of, you know, how many coins are being traded is like 10 or 11 million. So there's a very, very little supply. And so what's happening now is because Bitcoin's become kind of like a, You know, when you tell somebody, like somebody asks you a question, you say, Google that shit, right? Do you ever say that? I don't know. I say that to people all the time. Just Google that shit. It's become a verb, essentially. So when people talk about Bitcoin, they're essentially talking about all cryptocurrencies, which is, you know, so it's encompassing the whole universe. And so the more people that talk about it, and there's such a limited supply, right? You got billions of people in the world, and there's really 11 million coins floating around. It ends up just being this crazy thing of just the law of supply and demand. And so, you know, right now you're really going towards the moon. I definitely wouldn't be trying to buy this thing right up here unless you're a day trader. Then you can kind of take all these little spikes and all these little things. I mean, this is a 1,000-point move, you know, today. But I would wait for some comebacks on this. See if this thing comes back to 10,000, 9,000. That would be, you know, ideal, because, I mean, you can see just right here, this is what they say a little bit long in the tooth, right? Now, on the other side of things, so while Bitcoin is running, what are some potential good offshoots of it? So I don't know, have you guys noticed recently there has been a tremendous run in altcoins? So one of the things, guys, about altcoins is they've been dead forever, right? So if you think about altcoins, I mean, they've been dead forever. And now what you're starting to get is some monster movement in the secondary coins. They've been coming out of the woodwork now. So in the altcoin market for just months and months and months, like you were getting this kind of, this type of consolidation, essentially, right? So what's consolidation? It's just when you're stuck in a range and you're consolidating. But consolidation is what actually gives power to cryptocurrencies and also in the stock market, right? Stocks get their power from consolidations and bases, so do cryptocurrencies. And so when you get these kind of big rips, what ends up happen is just like a person, right? You got to come and rest. But this type of range compression, guys, I want you to really kind of think about this pattern, because we trade this pattern quite a bit. It's just a range compression pattern. So when you get something that goes from, like, say this is 10 cents, give or take, right? And it goes to $7. So, you know, it's up over 1,000%. So imagine, like, you go up with over 1,000%. It's not going to just stay up there, right? Nothing just stays up there forever. So you've got to come back and really reset, right? Allow fresh buyers to emerge. And so if you can remember this pattern, if you're going to trade one pattern in cryptocurrency, right now, this is probably the best pattern to actually trade. This is what we call a base breakout. So guys, for those of you guys that don't know charting, this is TradingView. You can use it for free. So on TradingView, there's a couple things, but this is my favorite pattern. I'm going to teach you how to, number one, find this pattern, and then how to enter it, okay? So this is essentially just it's called a base breakout. So base breakout, the tenets of a base breakout is when you get something that's gone hugely exponential, over 100% plus, and you come crashing down and you give back at least, it must be at least, guys, so write this down. You've got to give back 50% of your gains or more. So it goes to 7 and it comes all the way back down to 2. Now, you can't just buy it because it comes back. Essentially, what has to happen is you've got to go sideways for a period of time and compress the range. So you can see here, like, you have this really wide range, right? And every day as you go sideways, the range gets tighter and tighter and tighter. And so what essentially is going to happen when you come out of that range is you get your secondary breakout. So this is called a base breakout in cryptocurrencies. It's really, really powerful. The key is this: when the range breaks, you got to have that 9 EMA coming up right up under it. And so what I essentially do all the time, so like I make lists, right? So in cryptos, you got to make lists because there's no real good scanners out there. So anytime you see a cryptocurrency that just explodes, where it goes from like $1 to 10 or 2 to 10 or whatever it is, once it comes back down and goes sideways for kind of that good month or more, and that range starts to get really, really compressed, what you'll start to see is that secondary breakout once you go. So like, you know, the best one that we were really trading was this XMR, but you'll see this pattern all the time. And it's like my go-to for my longer term trades in cryptos. If you see here, hold on, remove all drawing tools. Good. So the same type of pattern. So if you see XMR, this is one of my main holdings and one of my longer term accounts. This thing goes from 47 to 160, right? So it's up. Yeah, we used to call it the double bottom booty bounce, actually. But I changed it to base breakout because obviously a lot of our female students were getting offended. And also my mom watches these, and she was basically calling me an asshole too. So we went from double bottom booty bounce to base breakout, which is a lot more of a sane thing. So you go from 40 to 160, right? So you got this nice, just big explosion. Now the thing is, once you explode like that, you've got to leave it alone, right? Because it's got to come crashing back down. So how you make the base breakout is, so once it comes crashing back down, you don't want to buy any of this. You just leave it alone because you don't know where it's going to stop, right? But what you want to do is start to watch these things. And as you start to base out, meaning like you start to build a bottom where you start to test a level. So you can see here this 80 level. See how you test it, then you test it, and you test it, and you test it, and you test it. So what essentially that's happening is you're making a line in the sand, okay? So when you're thinking of trading, guys, okay, I want you to really remember this. When you think of trading, if you can simplify your trading to finding lines in the sand, essentially levels where something's either holding or fading, what that does is it provides some structure to your trade so you can trade around it. So you start building this real easy kind of line in the sand here. But what was the thing that we just talked about? Was the range compression. So see how like you got this big wide range, right? So $80. And then the range really, really starts to compress here. See like how like it's barely moving at all when it starts to go. So what you want to do is, right, draw your trend lines. You want to draw your trend lines. And so your trend lines, right, you want to connect the dots at least 3 times. And so now what you have here is a wide range that's gotten tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. And the tighter it gets, the more fucking explosion there is. Sorry for the swearing. I get really excited about these. And so once that range really starts to compress and you break over it, now you're really off to the races. It's the most powerful pattern in cryptocurrencies because that range just builds up so much explosion like a pressure cooker that when they go, it's off to the races. And you see this with pretty much, you'll see them in all the patterns. So this was Dash. This is one that we were playing a few weeks ago. Same type of deal. So Dash goes from 160 to 400 bucks, right? And it's all over the place now. It's really wild. So it comes back, pops up, comes back, pops up, comes back. But what do you start to see here? So see how you have like a multi-$100 range, and then it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and it starts to compress, right? You're building up that pressure cooker. And every time you test that level, what's essentially happening is, right, you're weakening that level. So you're testing that trend line and you're weakening it because that trend line is resistance. And so you tap into it, you bust into it, and you bust into it, and you bust into it. And so what's happening is you're really weakening that level, and you finally break out over it. That's where the explosion starts. Now, the key is always, remember, we got to have that 9 EMA trailing up under it, right? Because if you don't have that, you're not going to have a way to really manage your trade, and then you're really off to the races again. But this is the best part about trading this type of medium is that, you know, if you have a smaller account, I think this is probably the best thing to do for small account traders is trade cryptos, because you can, you know, you can have 10 shares of this, right? And you could potentially make thousands. I'm not saying you would hold it all the way through or make thousands, but right, you have that potential because of range, and you need that. You're not necessarily getting that in the stock market right now. You know, the stock market's been running for a decade almost, right? In terms of, you know, since 2009, essentially, we're getting so long in the tooth, there's just not as much room to go sometimes. You know, this is more of a newer industry, and we're really seeing that kind of pattern emerge all the time. So like if you even think BCC did the same thing. So this is my favorite damn pattern, right? So you got this big pop up, and you come down, and look at how tight this range gets. Look at how wide it was here. It goes from 300 to 1,000. And now what you want to see is this. See these little baby candles? So imagine something's moving $100 a day or $200 a day. And after it comes and starts to rest, I mean, it's moving like a couple dollars a day here. So what that means, guys, so what that means in terms of supply and demand is that buyers and sellers have reached an equilibrium. There's really nobody left to sell, but there's no catalyst for anybody to buy. And so there's just a little baby battle going on at that level. And see how you start to build the level at 300. So what you have here is a line in the sand, an inflection point that needs to hold, right? And if we can structure our trades around inflection points and lines in the sand, it provides structure, clarity, but most importantly, it really helps you manage with your risk so that when you can finally come out of that pattern, wide range, tighter, 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 now you're really off to the races. So I think that's going to be just something to really just always keep mind of. I mean, and this is happening in the altcoins. I mean, right now there's altcoins. So I don't like trading altcoins. For those of you guys that know me, I hate trading altcoins. But I mean, they're starting to fucking fly around. I mean, they just are. So the money's in the altcoins. You know, we were trading this MCO the other day. I mean, it ran from $6 to $20 in a couple days. That's where the huge action is. And so a couple alts to keep an eye on over the next coming weeks. You know, this IOTA's got some crazy momentum. I would not chase any of these up right now. You got to let them come back and let that range compress. But these are some ones that you want to be really watching over the next couple months. IOTA, 50 cents to 550. Where's the other one? EOS is the other one. Let me find that thing. EOS. Look at this little, right? Look at this turdzilla, right? So this thing breaks its flag pattern at $1, runs to 5. It looks very similar, actually, to IOTA. But I would say, you know, those are kind of some interesting ones to watch. One that I am actually hunting for an entry right now is this ADX. And I just showed them in US dollars because it just is easier to show for. So this one went from a couple pennies to $5. Then it came back. See how tight that range was? And when it broke, we're starting to get really this breakout start to form. I think this is one of my favorite plays going into the next couple of weeks. If the altcoin momentum stays, I think, well, we're going to have a little bit of juice in this bad boy. All these kind of setups are going right now. I mean, XL, XLM, they're all going. So one of the ones that, you know, we've, you know, another one that had the really similar pattern was that Mona. Right, see that? Pop up, tight range, and then go. So I keep an eye on some of these. My favorite one's kind of going into these next couple of weeks, though, is this LISC. That ADX, I think, is going to be a little bit hot to trot. So all the other ones have really just gone too far ahead of themselves. And then I'd keep an eye on this MCO, too, because this one came out of this big, long range. It had this one-day monster pop. And it came back down, tested its 9 EMA today. But it's going to hold here. It should hold here. And if it can, I wouldn't be surprised to see, I wouldn't be surprised to see this one back in the 20s. You know, that's my kind of thing. So the tethers is just, I like trading in USDT if I can. I don't carry around as much BTC. I usually have more Ethereum than BTC. It just makes sense to me. Janelle, we didn't get into ADX, so I'm not in ADX yet. I am not in ADX. The one that we were yesterday that we got in and out was the XLM. You know, that was the one we were trading yesterday. This thing is just a big heater. So I keep an eye on these. But let's take a look at some of these other coins and just kind of get a good game plan of, you know, where we think the market's going to go. So let's take a look at the Ethereum here. So you can see Ethereum after this big breakout at 400. We ran to 500, and now it's pulled back to some MAs. But this is the thing. See, the range is starting to get kind of sloppy on this. When the range gets kind of sloppy on it, it becomes really hard to trade. So I think Ethereum's going to need a little bit more time to let this range compress. When you get a sloppy-ass range, it makes the intraday trading really hard. You know, like if you look at the intraday charts to the Ethereum Lord, it's so choppy. Like it'll spike up, come down, spike up, come down. It's just, you know, it can't hold anything. So the range is just way too wild right now. And so who knows, you know, it's in a trend. Oh, long term, it looks awesome. Short term, it's the range is just too damn sloppy. You know, we're not going to really get any edge. Like you can't trade something like that, like at least not a day trade basis. So we've got to let this thing really pipe together. The Bitcoin is I mean, just going on another run, this thing just popped a couple $100 while we've been on this YouTube live. It's a wild one. BTG, I don't really see any action in this thing. It may come all the way back down to 220 at this point. No pattern really, so I would not really even have anything for this one. I'd leave that one alone. Let's talk about Litecoin for the light lords out there. So Litecoin has busted over these highs, and so this is how breakouts work. When you break over a level, especially a key psychological level like $100, if you can start to build and rest above that spot, above that old breakout spot, that old resistance becomes new support. Old resistance always becomes new support. So remember that. Old resistance becomes new support. Old resistance becomes new support. So now what's happening is it's essentially just consolidating over that $100 level. But what's going down is the longer it holds above this level, the more powerful it's going to get. So this structurally and technically is a really, really strong pattern and a really, really strong cryptocurrency. As it's just consolidating over that breakout spot, it's going to build up steam and energy to start its next leg. So my personal belief is I think Litecoin goes a lot higher. If it can hold in this kind of 100 range for a little bit, I mean, you could see 120, 140, 150 really, really quickly. The thing about Litecoin is when it goes on runs, it goes on big runs, you know, and then it's essentially done. In terms of scaling out on stocks like this, when they break out, I'm a big believer in scaling out. Always take profits. Just that's my thing. You know, as an Indian person, we're cheap, man. We got to take profits. I'm an ordinary person if I don't pay myself. You got to get paid, right? So always pay yourself a little bit. VTC does look good too. We'll take a look at that in a hot second. This dash, man, this thing is really, really extended. I'd let this thing come back for a while. Like we've missed the run on this. Yeah, Janelle, it'll be on YouTube. So we've missed the run on this. At this point, it's just kind of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It went up 400%. Let's let this thing chill out. Neo is the hoe of hoes, isn't it? Neo is a dirty little ticker. Let me tell you that we've been shaked on Neo so many times over the last months, but Neo's just stuck in a range, and really till this range resides, if something starts to trend, Neo's not going to really do much. I'd leave Neo alone for now, unless some news comes out or some type of catalyst that gets it out of its range that it's been in the last so many months. It spikes and it fades a lot. So what I always want to do when I think about trading or I think about tickers is how has it acted in the past? So one thing with Neo is anytime it has a big spike lately, it just seems like it just dies down, right? So it just costs us too much damn money. Spikes up, then dies down, spikes up, then dies down, spikes up, then dies down. So you definitely don't want to ever chase this thing on strength. It's a turdzilla. It is the king of turds. It's a KOT, king of turds. For some people, that's nice. Some people like turds. I prefer not to. So this thing is, I'd leave it alone for now until the pattern clears up. BCC, you know, I had high hopes for this. So we entered this thing right here at 1200 or 1280s. Ran to 1800, man. I was up a few $1,000 on this thing, and then it just came, whoop, came right back. I sold half, and I kept half. I got stopped out for, I got stopped out flat on my last half, and that was kind of highly upsetting. I gave back a lot of profits, you know, 500 points. Still burns me. Oh, thanks, Stock Picker. Appreciate that. Always love the updates. Zcash, you know, longer term, this actually does look like it's going to bust loose. I don't like trading this one, though. If you look at it, see the candle, see these spikes? So it becomes real hard to manage when you get all these little spikes out of it. So I'd leave this one alone. I think this one is just going to be hard to deal with and trade with due to lack of volume and liquidity. XMR, I mean, this is the hottest little thing on earth right now. I mean, this thing went from 80 to 280. You know, ideally, if it could pull back or flag or something like that. Man, I love XMR. And also, when you trade XMR, so like I trade XMR on Bittrex. it moves really well. So like an XMR, like sometimes like we're buying it and trading in the chat room, and like it will pop $10 in like 5-10 minutes, you know. I mean, you can make some good money if you can corral the volatility. You can corral that. I trade more stocks than cryptos. It's just, you know, stocks has always been my thing, but you know, I trade cryptos all day too. So it's not really like I trade one more than the other. But stocks, you can just put more money in them. So it's just easy, you know. In the stock market, you only need to trade 20, 30 minutes a day. You know, most of my day trading in the stock market, I need 30 minutes a day to make $1,000, $2,000. You know, in cryptos, I mean, you got to sit there and watch this stuff all day. It's a little bit harder. You know, Bitcoin futures, I don't really know. You know, nobody knows what's going to happen, right? So I can't really make the prediction because maybe it's good for it, maybe it's not. You know, we won't know till we play it out. So let the Bitcoin futures come. We'll see what happens. OMG, no real pattern here. ETC. So I like this one a lot. So if this thing can pull back to this kind of 22 to 24 level where its old breakout is, I think you're going to start to get a bounce in this. So I would set an alert, right, and really keep an eye on this thing. If it gets down close to this level, I think it's going to be a buy. So like what I like to do is you can add an alert on Trendline on TraderView. You can go here. You can have this thing texted to you. Send SMS. Boom. What the fuck? I am upgraded. Seems like somebody's playing little games with my stuff. I thought I already had the yearly on this. I'll have to check what's going on. It says pro. Little hose. What can you do? All right, but normally what I would do is I would set an alert over into that area. When it gets texted to me, I'll start watching it a little bit closer, and you know, you can come back in and do it. The one thing with the cryptocurrencies is I've noticed that those key levels, like when they break out, when you come back and retest levels, they seem to hold pretty well. So I would keep a strong eye on this in the next coming weeks. I think it's going to be hot. XRP is I've never actually traded XRP ever. I mean, I watch it. And the reason I watch it is just because everybody else, everybody always asks me about it. And the reason people ask me about it is because it's cheap, right? So people are interested in Ripple because it's cheap. And otherwise, it's not really much. The way Ripple works is you never want to buy a high, but anytime it seems to dip down into this kind of 15, 16, 18 range, it ends up kind of spiking back to 28. So what I do with the Ripple Dipple is, you know, if it got down to the 17, 18, 19s, come back in. That's probably the spot. It seems to just work in that range really, really well. So never chase it in the top of the range. Even if it looks like it's a breakout, this one, it's so range bound that you want to get the bottom of the range, sell the top of the range, buy the bottom of the range, sell the top of the range. Let me take a look at Mana. I know a couple people asked me about this Mana. Mana. All right. Yeah, this thing's got some juice to it. You know, I wouldn't necessarily buy it up here. I'd wait for a pattern, but, you know, once a pattern emerges, there's no reason why you can't trade it. Definitely no reason you can't trade it. Just remember, there's always a difference between are you investing in this or are you just doing a trade? If you're doing a trade, you just got to wait for a pattern. I wait for a flag. I wait for a flat top breakout, some type of pullback, and I get in, I manage my risk, and I get out, you know, quickly. If it's an investment, you always want to try to buy them lower than higher, right? And you don't want to chase the, for investments, you don't want to chase the momentum. Where when you're day trading, you can chase momentum because you can just dump it really quickly. So always a little bit of a difference. Is there any difference in trading the USD rates versus the BTC rates? Not really. I just like to look at charts through USD. It just makes more sense to me. But, you know, you can do either or. Most of the guys in my chat room, I noticed, they like to trade in the BTC. But I always keep a lot more Ethereum on hand. So if I do pairs, I try to get them in ETH. Dun, 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 dun. Anybody got any questions? So favorite plays, ADX, remember? We like that ETC. Watch that LTC. If it consolidates over that breakout spot, they all look decent. Yeah. They all look a little decent. Then I really like this MCO if it holds. The one thing we've got to just be careful of is that the altcoins have all a lot of them are up like 400, 500%. So they may need to come back down a little bit. Altcoins seem to just run for a few days and then they die. And they might die for a long time. So you don't want to be like stuck in these things because you chased them. NXT. You know what? I was looking at NXT this morning. And it's definitely got some hot momentum. I mean, we went from 5 cents to 50 cents. I would keep an eye on this. You know, let this range tighten up intraday. And once you start to let it compress, let the moving averages curl up under it. And then when it breaks out, I think you're going to be good to go. Oh, yeah. Let's take a look. 14K. So we're having a Bitcoin 14K party over here. I like that. I like it. Woo. Man, that is just incredible, right? Listen, man, this is just the future. This is the way it goes. Remember, never chase something up, though, just because it's at 14,000. You get that itch like you have to get into Bitcoin. Anytime you feel like you have to get into something, walk away from the computer. I always do that. Like when I feel that need, like I'm like, I have to get into it. I'm missing out. Like all these idiots are out there making money and I'm not. When I feel that need, I walk away from the computer. Maybe even take a cold shower, smoke a cigarette, do whatever it is you got to do. But when you get that urge, just walk away. Hello. Yeah, this thing is really, really crazy. The fact that John McAfee said he would eat his own wiener is amazing. That's the way it goes. Whew. It's a run. What can you do, man? People want that BTC. Yeah, so wait for it to pull back. The one thing I always think about is like I use my 9 EMA in the daily. When you get too far from your 9 EMA in the daily, you can get it gets riskier and riskier. So I just kind of be mindful of that. Yeah, so you're going to need ADX is going to need to break that level. You can see even intraday, it's not really trading well right now. Once those ranges tighten up, you can see like its 9 EMA is going to have to kind of crust up here. So it's going to probably need a few more days. As that 9 EMA is kind of will trail up, that range will get tighter. And then you'll have a much, much easier kind of pullback and trade. I really like this ARC too, but it already busted loose. I was looking at this a couple days ago. You can see a lot of these little guys. Stratus looks pretty good. Anybody ever trade Stratus? Check that out. So this just broke the other day. So this one's probably got a little bit of juice to it. I think IOTA is going to need to pull back. You know, you don't want to buy. I always think about this in terms of common sense, guys. Okay, so how I always think about it. If something's at 4 or 5 days in a row, meaning you get 4 or 5 green candles, I tend to leave it alone. And that's just a common sense way to keep me out of trouble. Like, has anybody ever bought a stock or something and it literally felt like you bought the highs, like you were the last one in and now it's tanking? That's happened to me a few times over the years. It's not pleasant. So by rule of thumb, if something's been up 4 or 5 days in a row, meaning I got 4 or 5 green candles, I will not buy it because that will keep me away from getting something that's about to crash or it's just too extended. You know, number one job for us always is manage our risk, manage our risk, or manage our risk. You know, as traders, our number one job, our duty is to manage risk. So you've got to really go. And you know what, Kevin, it's not even on any exchanges yet. So it's not getting any action yet. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, some of these look okay. Like I like this rise too. You know, so it broke out here. Now it's retesting. So a breakout pullback is a really powerful pattern, right? So anytime you break over something, old resistance becomes new support. So now we're coming back and retesting. So if the alts do get some traction, I think this one's gonna have some awesome juice too. Hey Jacob, do you know what the ticker is for Cardenio? Hey Mike David, what's going on? Yeah, this VTC is an interesting one. Also, it's having a nasty little day right now. Let's see this thing. Popped up to 12, came back down. This is the thing, guys. You know, you try to use some stop losses on this stuff because you could come down so quick on these bad boys. 88. Name that ticker. That's a good game, right? Name that ticker. So part of it is, look, with Bitcoin, so this is a pair, right? So with Bitcoin flying, you know, these pairs are just going to be under so much pressure. So when the Bitcoin is flying, I want to go 88 ETH pair. Okay, remember that. If the Bitcoin is flying, you want to go the pair that's less volatile. Okay, when I'm trying to think of pairs, I always pick the one that's not going to move that day or move very minimal, so it doesn't fuck up my pairs. Because I've traded some altcoins before that, like I did it on that THC, that little pot coin. I thought I had like this beautiful picture perfect breakout, and then Bitcoin just exploded through the roof, and my altcoin just got smoked. Damn, look at Mona just die. A lot of these alts are dying, so this is probably a good day to keep away from them. You know, you could see. If you get something that gets cut in half in one day, I mean, that's too much volatility right there. All right, so let this, you know, let these things reset. Okay, so let's take a look. So key levels for ETH. Hold on, buddy. I got you. I got you. If I could turn back time. So I think that 400 to 370 range would be ideal. It may find some traction here, but ideally anywhere from this, where this breakout spot is, which is about 370 to 400, which was the high that it tapped multiple times. You can see here, right? So if you think, draw this level right here. You just go in. That's about 410. And come down, give or take about 400. And so anywhere in that range, I'd go with that. That looks actually pretty good. Look, longer term, it still looks great, but it's just acting way too wild the last few days. It's hard to control. Let that thing pull back or hit your levels, or let the range compress and tighten. Jacob, so guys, Jacob's asking, you know, when I do pairs, do I you specify the limit? So yeah, I mean, I do some of the pairs in ETH too. I actually do more ETH pairs than BTC pairs. For the strict reason that just ETH has been sitting around right now while Bitcoin's been flying. I mean, this is nuts. This is probably your kind of blow off top for a little bit. CwK's, good question. So you can't really short in cryptos right now. Like you can short at Kraken, and you have like a couple spots you can short, but there's not that much shorting going on right now. So, you know, you've got to, I short more dependent on patterns, not EMAs, you know, so you got to always be careful. The EMAs are just one piece of the puzzle to a pattern. So for those of you guys, this is how when you think about structuring a trade, okay, think of it as like a lawyer, right? You're a lawyer and you're building a case. And so what you're doing is you're taking pieces of evidence and compiling them in your favor to make a decision, right? A guilty, innocent, right? You have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a trade is worth your time and money. Beyond a reasonable doubt, the trade is worth your time and money. So you have to compile multiple pieces of evidence in your favor to ever make a trade. So you always start with price patterns, right? And then you overlay your volume. Then you overlay your moving averages. And so you start to take in different pieces and pile it into the trade, and that's what assigns it probability. Remember that every trade is always just a 50-50 shot. It's just a fucking coin flip. But how you take it from a coin flip to something that's higher probability is you build a case like a lawyer. So it starts with patterns, and then you start to layer in everything. You know what? I don't really know how the Bitcoin futures thing is going to work out, so we'll just play it by ear. Sorry for my garb today, man. I was just in the gym over here, and I'm like, shit, it's 5 o'clock, man. I better turn on my damn computer. Hot damn. Anybody else got any questions? What's going on? Pablo, how you doing? Guys, if I missed one of your questions, it's not because I'm being a jerk or I actually just missed some. They come in so fast, I don't see them all. But if I missed anybody's questions, let me know. And I will make sure to answer to you. I don't like ignoring people. I've been ignored at some webinars in my day, and it really irked me. Yeah, man, EMC2 is on fire. I mean, this thing was just sitting around at 10 cents forever. Does anybody else feel like they really miss an easy shot to get rich? On Bittrex, Jacob, certain coins you can only do in BTC. Certain coins you can do the pair. It just depends. Hey, Marie, how you doing? What type of wallet do you use? Okay, my apologies on that, by the way, Marie. So a majority of my stuff I keep in my Coinbase wallets. So just on their website. So, they have an LTC wallet, an ETH wallet, a Bittrex wallet. I mean, not Bittrex, a BTC wallet. I have one of those little treasures. I don't use the treasures. I use the Ledger Nano that you can do for like your longer term, holdings. To be honest, because I'm mostly in trading, I keep a handful of things in the ledger, that I just really like long term. But a majority of them I'm trading. So, I'm moving them back and forth between the wallets. But yeah, I use this Ledger Nano wallet. I got it on Amazon. Hey, so good question. So somebody's asking, what type of exchanges do we use? So for me, I don't know if anybody's shorted Bitcoin. It's hard to short these days too. Kraken's platform hasn't even been working. So one of the things to really think about in terms of exchanges is just number one, ease of use, availability of coins, and then the platform. So my big trading, like in terms of the major cryptos, which is your Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin, I do those on GDAX because you can limit your commissions if you do limit orders. The altcoins I do on Bittrex. And the reason I use Bittrex is just the availability of coins, meaning Bittrex has the ability for you to trade literally hundreds of coins. GDAX has 3. Now, there's another one that I've been playing with recently, which is Binance, but I haven't used it enough. I've only made 1 trade on it so far, but I haven't been using it enough to even, I haven't been using it enough to even really give like a fair statement of it. But a lot of people like it, and they've got a decent availability of coins. Man, look at people just dumping all these damn coins. Anything you pair with BTC, you're going to get smoked. You know what? Polynex and Kraken both have margin. Pollinate is a Kraken build that margin, but Kraken's platform never works. Hey, Pavlo, when does the bubble pop? Nobody knows. Look, one of the things that I've learned about bubbles, guys, is, and think about it like this. So I've been studying stocks and finance stuff my whole life. Bubbles like the tech bubble took a decade to inflate, right? The real estate bubble took 20, 30 years to inflate, right? Bubble Bitcoin started running this year. Is it a bubble? No. But is it extended? Oh, yeah. It's extended. It's gone up a little bit too far, too fast. But whether it's a bubble, I doubt it. I'm not sure why Ethereum is down so much today. From what it looks like to me, it just seems like, all the money is flowing into Bitcoin and flowing out of everything else. That's like what it looks like happens. Everybody's dumping all their tickers for Bitcoin. But in the end, nobody really knows. Man, look at that. That's just really incredible. I mean, it's moved 500 points while we've been in this fucking YouTube. Sorry for swearing. I have an exorbitant potty mouth. You know what? When you run a business with your 4 best friends and you don't have anything to say to each other after 25 years, it's like you just swear at each other all day. So I just got this crazy potty mouth because I work with my best friends, man. When you work with your buddies and you guys all known each other since you're 8 years old, there's really not much else to say except some insults. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, even XMR is getting smoked. Look at that, it's down $40. That's incredible. LK. So LK is asking, do I like that 9 and 20 crossover? I'm not a big moving average crossover guy. I mean, I do see the patterns and I do see some people trading them, but I think I've got I got hotter stuff than that. Thanks, Pablo. Guys, any last questions before I get going? I got some things to do today, and I will be back on next week. We're back on schedule. That was my apologies for missing last week. We were in Orlando shooting some videos for our crypto class, and it just went over time. Hey, Mag. So I think TradingView is probably the best charting platform. I do have an account at Coinigy also for like just emergency or backup. But I think TradingView has more features. And the other thing I really like about TradingView is you have like these different layouts. Like I use this 6-window layout quite a lot. And the 6-window layout like lets you watch like a bunch of different coins all at once, which is kind of cool. But yeah, I do like Coinigy also. Yeah. So anybody else getting questions? Yeah, there's a big flood of money leaving right now. So guys, if you are long any altcoins, if you are long right now anything that's non-Bitcoin, put stop losses in, protect your risk. If Bitcoin's gonna move 20% in a day, a lot of different tickers are gonna get smoked out. What's going on? Oh yeah. But everything else is gonna get smoked out. And so we've got to always protect our risk. Our number one job is to protect our necks, protect our risk. Do not be a hero. The other thing I really want you guys to think about is a lot of these things like XMR, ETC, ETH, they're all just dying right now. Don't be a hero and try to cherry pick a bottom. you know, if this market just gets tanked down in terms of the altcoins, don't try to cherry pick the bottom because what's the term? Bottom pickers, sticky fingers. Bottom pickers, stinky fingers. My mentor told me that many moons ago when I was trying to bottom pick some stock. Yeah, EMC2 looks pretty good, but too high for me. Too high for me. Let that thing pull back. Think about this. EMC2 was at 10, 15 cents, right? Ran to $2. You don't want to chase something up 1,000%. You never want to be the last man to the gangbang. You want to be the first or maybe the second guy, depending on how risque you are. That's right, baby. Thanks, Mike. Hey, Alex, I might be missing, man, but that's just my rules, right? My rules of what I do have kept me in the game for 15 years. Think about that. I know I look young and fresh, but no, you come in. You want to hang out? Come on. You come and hang out. You got any beers? What? Hey, all right. Bring over some beers when you come. Hey, you research, bro. I made it this far and lasted this long for a specific reason. I don't break my rules. That's just what I didn't believe. Don't care about anything else. Now, I do got to go. So, guys, the futures market, so the Bitcoin futures are coming out. I have funded, so I've traded futures in the past. I've refunded my futures account just in case there's going to be some volatility. I won't be really trading Bitcoin futures much, though. I'm going to essentially keep 5, 10 grand in a futures account. In case I ever do need to short Bitcoin, I'll be able to do it via the futures, because right now you can't short Bitcoin on GDAX. You can't short Bitcoin on Bittrex, right? So all these exchanges that we're using, they don't let you short because they don't offer margin. So I'll keep a few grand in the, one of these futures accounts. If the day ever comes, I've got to short that Bitcoin, I'll be ready. I can't get a job application. You don't want to work for me. I am the worst person to work for ever. I'm very demanding. I like to make money and I like to win. And I like things done right. You don't want to work for me. Thanks, Mikey. I appreciate it. Hey, Alex, I will check it out, though. I hear what you're saying, and I'll check it out, my friend. Frankie Ramstock, what's up, baby? What's going on? How's Florida? It's cold as hell up here in Detroit. $16.8K. Well, let's take a look. See what we got going on the coins. It's like we're watching fucking history here, doesn't it? Present to everyone. Man, this EMC is dying, bro. Dying. Looks more like a short than a long. That's just insane. Yeah, I got a little FOMO now. Anybody else got a little Bitcoin FOMO right now? I got some. Raise your hand if you got some Bitcoin FOMO. I got some. Yeah, you know what? I've heard of Robinhood, but I don't think it's open yet. Yeah, Sisu, that would be awesome. Yeah, I'll grab a beer. I'll be in Detroit for the next couple days and then back towards Northville Friday. Hey, thanks, Coco. Appreciate it. Man, this does look pretty cool. I just don't know if it's open yet. Yeah, it's not open yet. But when it opens, We'll be there. Trading Legends. Look at this. Man, I'm joining this thing. Be sure to shred people. Super heavyweight champion. Man. This looks pretty cool. I'm going to have to join this trading championship. Hey, thanks, Luke. Well, guys, I do got to get going. I will check out this Common Hood too. Check your next. A lot of volatility. Do not get the Bitcoin FOMO. If you think you've got to chase this thing, you get that urge, you treat yourself to a little ice cream today and walk away from the computer. I right now am getting crazy Bitcoin FOMO, but I'm going to just walk away. Just walk away. All right, guys, I love you. I will see everybody Wednesday. For the rest of you guys, I'll see you in the Bulls on Crypto Street chat room, which is bumping 24 hours a day right now. It's a hot little chat room, man. You know, besides me, there's just awesome traders in there. TJ, Brian Zhao, Jason Allner. Oh man, we got a good team of shredders in there. So I will see everybody Wednesday. I appreciate you guys coming in here and letting me babble to you about my life's passion, which is trading. And I will see everybody next Wednesday, guys. Peace.